Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte calls for stronger cooperation among countries to stop the financing of terrorist organizations. Duterte makes the remark during his speech at the plenary session of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and India Commemorative Summit Thursday in New Delhi. The Philippine leader also stresses the importance of timely and thorough intelligence gathering and analysis. Before leaving for India, Duterte lamented how a failure of intelligence led to the Marawi crisis lasting 5 months. Duterte says international conferences are not enough to address the terrorist threat plaguing Southeast Asia and calls for a platform to effectively quell the threat. But he says he will support the conduct of regular senior officials' meetings on transnational crime in consultation with India. During a speech before Indian and Filipino businessmen Friday, Duterte also jokes that if Muslim extremists can lure followers with the promise of 42 virgins in heaven, he would like to lure tourists to the Philippines with virgins as well. The Philippine president says virgins are promised to would-be ISIS followers. Duterte says, quote, "They do not have the monopoly of discourse in this field. And I said, one of the most is promising virgins when you go to heaven. I'd like to have the virgins here, not in heaven. God may not allow it." Duterte, a self-confessed womanizer, has often been criticized for sexist remarks. Lawyer Larry Gadon on Friday files a draft complaint against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno for alleged non-filing of her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Gadon files the complaint before the Justice Department instead of the Office of the Ombudsman, which usually has jurisdiction over high-salary grade officials like the Chief Justice. In his complaint, Gadon says Sereno's missing salents during her time as a professor of the University of the Philippines violates the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Both require the disclosure of assets through salents, but Sereno can only be removed via impeachment. Gadon says he is filing the criminal suit anyway. Sereno spokesperson Jojo Laquinilaw calls the complaint, quote, "a laughable move by desperate people." The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency now requires its agents to wear body cameras during their operations. PDEA Chief Aaron Aquino on Monday signs a memorandum detailing the use of body cameras by operatives and witnesses during anti-drug operations. The memorandum says, quote, "Agents and witnesses, particularly media representatives, shall mandatorily wear body cameras." PDEA last December only encouraged its agents to wear body cameras when they're available. Under the same December order, the PDEA required its operatives to invite media to operations. PDEA's counterpart agents in the Philippine National Police are encouraged to wear body cameras, but it is not mandatory. PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa defended the decision because the police force hasn't procured enough body cameras. The MRT temporarily limited southbound operations early afternoon Friday after fire came from a train traveling between Kamuning and Cubao stations. Passengers of the train were offloaded while the other trains continue operations from Shaw Boulevard to Taft Avenue. The Transportation Department has recorded 25 glitches and other service interruptions on MRT3 since the start of the year. In 2017, the MRT3 experienced near-daily breakdowns, including passengers being offloaded after smoke emanated from one of the coaches. The University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute defends its collaboration with the Chinese firm to survey the country's eastern seaboard. The UPMSI says the research project is part of a long-running international collaboration to study the flow of water in the country's eastern seaboard to understand how it affects regional climate and cycles like La Niña and El Niño. The collaboration with the Institute of Oceanology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences will study the North Equatorial Current, which splits as it meets the Philippine coast to form the northward Kuroshio Current and the southward Mindanao Current. Instruments will be deployed for time series measurements along the coast of northern Isabela Province, which is located north of Benham Rise. It will measure the volume and heat content of the water flowing to the north. UPMSI says a Chinese survey vessel will work within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone for a maximum of 6 days. The rest of the study will be conducted in the country's extended continental shelf. Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio earlier called the maritime research project with the Chinese dumb. Carpio led the country's international case against China over the West Philippine Sea. He said China should first recognize the United Nations-backed ruling that struck down its 9-line claim over the South China Sea.